and some additional information that may be helpful for your consideration. I'll first look to the audience to see if there's a representative here from Speed Fire Department.
Please come forward, sir. And for the board, you've got an agenda at your desk. Use this agenda.
Okay.
Yes.
Not the one in the booklet. Use
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry, I meant to mention that at the beginning. You were in error sent the incorrect version of the agenda. The two items, that being a recognition of Mr. Norris Tolson and the update we need to do to the compensation plan regarding exempt and non-exempt employees, we're pushing that to the July meeting. So thank you. So first I'll mention, so Speed Fire Department's current fire tax is 9 cents. And for the audience, just to make sure everyone understands, this is separate and on top of the property tax, and it goes directly to the fire departments for equipment purchases and expenses that they have. They're requesting to change that from 9 cents to 12 cents. They've had an increase due to revaluation. They've had an increase in the values in their district of 17.8 million plus. The estimated additional revenue at their current rate of 9 cents, at their collection rate of just under 92, of the collection rate in their district of just under 92%, will be an additional revenue of $14,748 for a total estimated revenue at the 9 cents of $99,478. The estimated additional revenue at 12 cents at their collection rate of just under 92% would be $19,662. The total estimated revenue at 12 cents will be $104,662. So I'll turn it over to the representative from Speed.
Go right ahead, sir. Please state your name and address, please.
Thank you. My name is Nelson Mefford. I'm the new fire chief for the Speed Fire Department. Just got voted in this department about 6 months ago, so it's all new to me. I'm here to talk with you about the tax increase. Speed has discussed this for about the last year of what we needed to do, our expenses, and we have come to a realization that we need to go up. For the fact is, equipment is going up, replacement equipment, trucks have gone up. Over the last 5 years, equipment has about doubled. And we've talked about it in length. I've talked with our membership, I've talked with our board. They've all decided that we need to go up to the 12 cents, mainly because we hadn't had an increase in over 15 years. We've worked hard to try to make our money go as far as we can. But the prices of equipment, that's just drove us to the point we don't have a choice. We've got a new truck on order. We had to have one to replace one that's 16 years old. It's starting to give us engine problems. We decided now to go ahead and buy one due to the fact of next year, trucks are going to go up another $125,000. And we were trying to wait 3 more years before we ordered one. But with that large price increase, we decided to go ahead now to try to save that $125,000. So we've been working hard, we've been trying, we've got new ideas that we're working on. With the increase, I know we're asking to go up 3%, but we're also working to have our ISO rating changed. Right now, we're a 9S department. We're trying to have it lowered. We're working with the state to do all the inspections, all the paperwork, and once we can get this accomplished, it's going to take about a year to do it. And once we do this, it's going to affect the homeowner's insurance. The homeowner's insurance will be affected. It will be lowered. I don't know how much, but the homeowners are going to get more advantage of it than the fire department is. So we worked hard. We're trying. We've been very diligent with our money right now. So, and we need the increase. Bills is getting harder to pay. Equipment is getting more and more expensive, as I said. So, we are really working hard to try to improve speed of fire department, to update equipment. As I said, our older truck is giving us problems. Now it's time to get rid of, replace it, and like I said, we're trying to save some money, which would affect, you know, how much we gotta pay and how much it's gonna end up costing us down the road. So, I just wanna thank you for your time, and I hope you see that we need the funds to help keep the fire department going.
Any questions from the board?
Sir,
I'm asking the board.
thank you for your help, and thank you for your time.
Mr. Wiggins, if I could ask just a question to clarify, just for information for the board, you did have a public meeting within your district,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Gotcha.
We had a meeting with our board, meeting with our membership, they all approved it. We did advertise a community meeting. We put it at the post office, we put it online, we put it at the town hall, and we had the meeting, and no one from the community showed up. We stayed for about an hour, and no one from the community come and give any opinions or objections of what we wanted to do.
They just want you to come and put the fire out.
Huh?
They just want you to come and put the fire out.
Thank you. I just want to clarify for the record, because it is required that a public hearing be held either by us or by them within their districts.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
Do we
you.
need to vote on that now?
It's up to you. I would recommend that you hear the other two requests
And
first.
then vote on all of
Yes,
them?
sir.
Okay. Next, go ahead, Governor.
Next, we have Davenport Fire Department. I believe there's, no one's here tonight. Okay. I will say that their request is to go from 85 cents to 10 cents. Their increase in valuation within their district is a little over $7.2 million as a result of revaluation. Estimated additional revenue at their current rate of 85 cent, at the collection rate within their district, which is 94.31%, would be additional revenue of $5,782. Total estimated revenue at 85 cent would be $43,782. The estimated additional revenue at 10 cent at their collection rate within their district would be $6,802 for a total of $44,802 of revenue. And so no one is here tonight to speak on that.
You mean 8.5 cent, not
0
85 cent?
point, point
You said
085.
0.085, yes, that's correct. And so I do want to, Antoine, they did have a meeting within their district as well.
They did have a meeting, and they also had to submit a letter of intent and justification for the increase, and so they alluded to the purchase of a 2,000-gallon tanker, and then some expansion of their fire station.
And I believe they also, their district goes into Nash County. I believe Nash County has
Nash County has honored.
approved.
That's
the
right.
increase.
They have approved?
They have
Yes.
approved.
Did you say this is in Whitaker's?
Yes.
Whitaker's?
Next is West Edgecombe Fire Department. Is there someone here? As they're coming forward, I'll note that they're requesting to go from 6 cent to 9 cent. The increase in valuation from reval is a little over $52 million. The estimated additional revenue at their current 6 cent rate at a collection rate within their district of 96.12% is $30,219. The total estimated revenue at 6 cent is $190,219. The estimated additional revenue at 9 cent at the collection rate within the district would be an additional $47,159 for a total estimated revenue of $205,329.
Okay, good evening, Commissioners. I'm Art Bradley, 425 Worsley Road, Rocky Mountain. I'm a safety officer at West Edgecombe Volunteer Fire Department, and I do want to thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight to discuss our needs and your consideration of our tax increase. We also have with us Sammy Pridgeon, who is chief of the department, and Tim Harris, who is president of the department. This is only our second request in the history of our fire tax at our fire station. And this becomes, and I can say ditto to Speed Fire Department's comments too. Everything is increased. If it's got fire attached to it, it jacks the price up. And things have nearly tripled since the last time we requested an increase. So like you said, fire trucks, we're looking at 2 years down the road, possibly purchasing a fire truck. That price is gonna be roughly $650,000, and it increased 8% a year. So the farther we kick that can down the road, the more expensive it's gonna be. We currently have a truck we're continuing to pay for through 2035. And so, these trucks are becoming increasingly difficult to afford, and we just have to extend out that time that we're borrowing money, just like y'all do in many things that y'all work with. One of the bigger needs that we have is our substation. We operate a substation that provides fire protection and insurance rating to residents in an area that would be uncovered otherwise. Those two trucks in there are a 1978 tanker and a 1989 pumper. We can't put one of our new trucks in that station. We're gonna have to build a new set of bays in order to house new trucks that go down and provide fire protection in that area. So, that's coming up sooner than later, and, that's gonna be, if our estimates, anywhere close, $24,000 a year just to, put that station into, renovation. We have lots of other needs. They're detailed in the information packet that we shared, the letter of request. We do highly value the investment made by the taxpayers in our district, and we work to return that value to them. And we've done that 3 separate times by lowering our ISO rating. The first time we went from a 9S to a 7, and that savings more than covered the fire tax at that time through their homeowners insurance reduction in the amount that they had to pay. We've also 2 separate times lowered it to a 6, and most recently this past year a 5. Anything below a 6 really doesn't help residents, but does help businesses. And the information shared by the tax office was really enlightening that a pretty significant amount of our tax revenue comes from business, and I did not realize that. So hopefully they'll see an increased savings from lowering that rate, ISO rating from a 6 to a 5 now. So we appreciate the opportunity to come before you and request this. We don't do it lightly. We pay taxes in the district just like all the other taxpayers, and I definitely don't want to pay more taxes, but I want to make sure that we provide adequate fire protection to our district. So thank you all.
And you had a meeting within your district as well?
Yes, sir. We started out with a meeting with our board to, share with them what our long-range needs were. And in that meeting, we really set out a 5-year plan to, because we had several different needs, and try and lay out a plan to address these over time. Then we followed up with a meeting with our membership, and then we had a public meeting in May, in which we had nobody show up to that meeting. Thank you.
You heard the request from the 3 departments in terms for the tax increases. Is there a motion
Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that you vote on these individually.
individually?
Yes, sir.
I'll go down according to what the agenda here. Is there a motion to approve West Edgecombe Fire Department's request for a tax increase?
Move for approval.
Second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that increase is approved. The next is there a motion to approve the Speed Fire Department request for a tax increase?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that tax increase is approved. The Davenport Fire Department, I think staff has assured us, Ms. Brown, that they have met the requirements of informing the public. Is there a motion to
Move
approve?
for approval.
Second?
It's my district.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Those fire departments, all departments here, the board has, and as soon as that will be reflected in the budget.
Yes, sir.
Those tax increases will be in, when we get to approving the budget, okay?
Yes, sir.
We just approve, put them in the budget.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay. Other business.
We have for you tonight, for your consideration, budget amendments for current fiscal year, FY '24. You have those in your packet. I do want to point out there is one additional one that is at your seat. I will number that number 9. and that is capturing additional sales tax revenues in Article 40 and 42, and then the related transfer to the school capital fund. There are 9, those first 9, including that one, that require your approval. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Oh, yeah, I see that. That would be numbers what? Give me the
So
numbers.
that would be numbers 1 through 9, recommend to approve.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the vote sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Next.
Next is regarding consideration of the FY '25 proposed budget. You have in your packet, excuse me, my budget message with the recommended budget, as well as all of the related ordinances. I will note, happy to read through that message if you like. I will note that there have been some relatively minor changes within the budget, some lines, but the ultimate total budget, the ordinances themselves have not changed. Some of those just a matter of some corrections, some additions there, but they all balance out to no change in the total budget. I will point out, just for the record of the meeting, that the proposed ad valorem tax rate for FY '25 is 89 cents per $100 in value, which is a decrease of 6 cents from the current tax rate. 1 cent of the tax rate generates approximately $437,876 in revenue. County's budget for FY '25 totals $80,666,818. The proposed budget is an increase of $6,666,739, or 9% from the original budget of the current year. The proposed budget includes a fund balance appropriation of $8,117,991. This is an increase of $254,000 from the current year's original fund balance. Again, this is this information here has not changed since the public hearing that we had. I do want to point out, and I guess really I want to ask Linda for clarification, for the budget ordinance that we have in here for the special revenues, we need to note those amendments here for this ordinance before they adopt it. Okay. Gotcha. So we will note that the special revenues fund ordinance, it notes those fire districts and what the tax rates were before this meeting. We will note that these changes will include the changes we just discussed for Davenport from .085 to .10, for Speed from, what those amounts were?
9 cents to 12.
9 cent to 12, thank you, ma'am. 9 cent to 12, and then for West Edgecombe from 6 cent to 9. I do, and I'll turn it over to you all for discussion. I do want to remind you that before you do take a vote on the budget, we do need to identify those board members who will have a conflict of interest. And that being any of the board members, any of you who serve on a board that is getting funding from the county. The ones that I'm aware of, and I do have a list at your seat of our outside agencies, the ones that I'm aware of are, I know that Commissioner Webb, you serve on the Upper Coastal Plain Council of Governments. They're an outside agency proposed to get funding from us. Caroline's Gateway Partnership, Commissioner Thorne, you serve on their board of directors. Edgecombe Community College, Commissioner Harris, you're an employee of Edgecombe Community College. And then Braswell Memorial Library, Commissioner Hines, you serve on that board of directors. Are there any other boards listed here that either of you have a seat on?
I sit on the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Board.
Gotcha, okay, thank you. So you're welcome to have whatever discussion that you like, but before you do take action on this budget, we will need first you to take action to excuse those board members from voting on those.
That portion of the budget.
Yes, sir. We will vote on each one of those outside agencies separately with those members being excused. and then we will come back and vote on the entire budget after that, so.
And I guess, go right ahead.
I have one question. Now, I see the outside agencies, but what about, wasn't there another group of applications for your new,
Yes,
get off the
ma'am.
list?
Yes, ma'am. You'll see there designated on the sheet that you have at line 10, it says hold for discretionary funding. So this budget includes a block of funding of $200,000 for that. As you know, we requested proposals from outside agencies to submit proposals for work that they feel like will in some way help our Getting Off the List initiative. We received 26 applications, I believe it is. My recommendation would be you go ahead and vote on this budget with that $200,000 block. We're going to review those as a committee and come back with a recommendation of how to allocate that $200,000 separate from this at another time.
Okay.
Mr. Evans also served on Edgecombe Community College Foundation.
Okay, the foundation itself, I believe, is a separate entity?
It is.
Separate entity, and they're not getting any funding, but thank you for mentioning that. Yes, sir.
And you don't intend to read it?
No, sir, unless you'd like for me to, I'd be happy to.
Any questions from Ms. Evans in reference to the budget that has been presented to the board? If not, I think the board is prepared to vote. Now,
So first, we'll need, let's see, Ms. Harris, Thorne, and Hines. So there will be, four, so there will be four. So we'll need to vote separately to excuse each board member from voting on that. So first, I would suggest that you entertain action to excuse Commissioner Harris from voting on both funding for North Carolina Association of County Commissioners and Edgecombe Community College.
motion, second,
Second.
questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, Commissioner Harris is excused.
And so now I would recommend that you approve first the recommended budget with Commissioner Harris being excused for the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners in the amount of $6,695.
Motion,
So moved.
Second.
questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that is approved.
Thank you. I'd also recommend that you consider action to approve funding for Edgecombe Community College with Commissioner Harris being excused from voting for a total of $2,072,249.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, Commissioner Harris is excused.
Thank you. Next, I would suggest that you vote to excuse Commissioner Webb from funding recommendation for Upper Coastal Plain Council of Governments.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Commissioner Webb is excused.
And therefore, I recommend that you consider funding for Upper Coastal Plain Council of Governments in the amount of $21,961.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved.
Thank you. Next, would suggest that you consider excusing Commissioner Thorne from voting on the recommended funding for Caroline's Gateway Partnership.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, Commissioner Thorne is excused.
Now, I recommend that you consider funding for Caroline's Gateway Partnership in the amount of $310,000.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye. All opposed? It is approved.
And finally, I would suggest that you excuse Commissioner Reverend Hines from voting on recommended funding for Braswell Memorial Library.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, Commissioner Hines is excused.
I recommend funding for Braswell Memorial Library FY '25 of $262,842.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved.
Thank you for that. And so therefore, just as a reminder, we're recommending approval of the budget as submitted, with the ordinances as submitted, with the changes being those related to the fire taxes that we just described.
Is there anything else to be brought to the attention of the board before we ask for a motion on the budget? Is there a motion to approve the budget?
To approve the budget.
Approve the budget.
Okay, I make a motion.
Second? Yes, we have a second. Any questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the budget is approved as with the changes of the tax.
Mr. Chair, we did have one opposition.
You oppose? One opposition? The vote 6-1. Okay. Moving on, next.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just say, the budget process is always a long process, longer this year because of reval. I want to thank all of you for your extra work, time, and patience. Extra special thank you to the Budget Committee, Commissioners Webb, Commissioner Boswell, Commissioner Powell, for your time. We've had multiple meetings. Also want to say thank you to all the staff who worked on this, all the departments who worked on this, but especially Ms. Linda Barfield for leading the charge on our budget this year. So thank you all for your work on this budget for FY '25.
And the budget can always be amended, and frankly, our Budget Committee now is looking at some other things that will be amended, will be brought back to the board in the very near future. So there are some things that are under consideration that will be brought back to the board. We can always amend this budget.
Yes, sir. Next will be item C, Mr. Chairman, regarding voting delegates.
Right, we need a voting delegate for the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. And what is it?
And the National
Association of County Commissioners. And Ms. Harris is on record as attending both of those conferences. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed, hearing none. You are the voting delegate, Ms. Harris. Next, Mr. Evans.
Next, we want to present to you changes or updates to our financial policies. Ms. Linda Barfield, our Chief Financial Officer, has led an effort to review and update our financial policies. Ms. Barfield is here tonight and is going to review those updates. I believe these changes are a great improvement to our policies. Therefore, I recommend your approval of the updates and adoption of our new financial policies as she presents them.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
So I'm excited to share with you months and months of hard work and prepared a little presentation to sort of walk you through what's new, what's changed.
Go ahead.
Okay, there we go. So our policy included the collaboration between several departments, and among those department heads, they brought unique experience and unique knowledge to the table. We met about 3 or 4 times and discussed our policies at length, and everybody had a chance to weigh in, and we came back, just wanted to share a little bit about the process, and then as we met and got recommendations, we'd go back and go to the drawing board and sort of look at what folks thought, and then we'd come back and consider it, and where it made sense, we made changes. So I'd like to, if it's allowed, I'd like to share with you all the departments that were involved. Let's get this. There we go. If I may, I'd like to ask those in attendance tonight, I'd like to ask them as I call their name to stand up and just recognize their contributions and their hard work. The list you see before you is really just alphabetically. Of course, myself was involved, Antwan Brown with Emergency Services, Pat Drury with the Department of Social Services, Karen Fellows with the Health Department, Sergeant Jeremy Jones with the Sheriff's Office, Teresa Lewis, the Tax Assessor, Stan Liverman, Maintenance Director, Gloria Linedecker, who's a Finance Assistant, you may remember her, is the prior Tax Assessor who was in retirement but came back to help us on these policies. Paul Mosley, Water and Sewer Director, Kim Myers, our new Purchasing Manager, and Dee Waters, our Assistant Finance Director. So all of those folks came together and really helped us. We had really one goal. You know, we wanted to ensure that our policies were comprehensive. We wanted to ensure that all the operations were considered. And most of all, we wanted to promote financial integrity. We wanted honesty, accountability, and transparency across the board. And so we are pleased with the product that we have done. In addition, just to give you a little background, in addition to these folks that worked hard on it, we also sent it out to each of the department heads.
They're gonna be tired by the time this is.
I guess that was the point I was supposed to say, thank you, and I am very thankful.
They don't wanna help you no more.
But I also wanted to say that, you know, we did it through a series of steps. We developed this committee, and like I said, we had meetings, then we brought our results and what we thought that we needed to do to the executive team. From there, we presented it to all the department heads. And so really it was a collective effort across the entire county to ensure that everybody felt like that they had a voice and to feel like that these policies were written with them rather than just for them. Here is our overarching view of our mission, vision, and goals. It condenses the core principles and high-level objectives that guide our decision-making. Our mission is to support our county and develop our county. Our vision is to provide outstanding services with honesty and transparency. And our goal is to ensure that all financial practices benefit the county citizens with integrity. You can read more about our mission, vision, and goals in our forward section beginning on page 4 of the policy. Our policy includes key practices that are compliant with all North Carolina general statutes that govern financial processes of local governments. Our policy also includes best practices from the Government Finance Officers Association and recommendations from the North Carolina Association of Governmental Purchasing. Both of these agencies support public procurement professionals. We've also added the adoption of the Federal Uniform Guidance. When spending federal grant awards, local governments are required to adopt written procurement policies that conform to applicable federal law and the Federal Uniform Guidance, with the understanding that we always follow the most restrictive policy. You can see that policy in Exhibit A in the back of the financial policies. So let's dive into what's new. We've combined several policies into one document. We've separated policy from procedure. We've strengthened our cash policies, revised the procurement thresholds, added procurement exhibits and charts for easy reference. We've better defined our bidding and contract processes, simplified the surplus property process, and we have clear grant guidance. Now, from this point, I will take each one of these bullet points and we'll sort of discuss them at length. I'll be brief, but just give you a little idea about each one of these bullet points and highlight the changes for each one. So in the context of our county's new physical policies, a holistic approach means considering all aspects of financial operations together rather than just in isolation. We can make decisions that are not only based on individual financial functions, but we can also take into account their collective impact. So for example, when planning capital improvements, we can align these projects with with available budget resources, debt capacity, reserve levels, and this alignment will ensure that our financial decisions are strategic and they also align with our overall objectives. In terms of separating policy from procedure, in our new policy, we've made a clear distinction between policy and procedure. A policy, as you know, sets high-level principles and objectives, typically adopted by a governing board like yourself. And the procedures, on the other hand, are specific steps that are taken to achieve those policy goals. The separation allows for procedures to be more responsive to operational changes without the need to revise the policy and get the policy readopted. So for an example, our procedures currently specify that invoices are due on Tuesdays and checks are issued only on Fridays. Suppose we decide to change the invoice due date to Monday and start issuing checks on Thursdays instead. The overarching policy remains the same. It still mandates that all financial transactions must be documented and follow internal controls. The principles and guidelines that ensure financial integrity remain unchanged. We can simply change our procedure to reflect the new dates without the need to have a policy revised and updated. Any questions? So in terms of strengthening our new cash policy, our new cash handling policy requires us, all departments handling cash to develop tailored procedures based on their specific operations. I have an example for that too. In the tax office, daily deposits are necessary due to handling larger sums of money, and specific shortages thresholds are in place that are triggered based on the type of shortage. Where the mapping department dealing with smaller amounts may deposit less frequently, and their shortage threshold can be adjusted accordingly to reflect their scale of operations. So it's really about making sure that each deposit, while we're all under the same cash policy and while we all have to follow the policy, each department can do procedures that are responsive to their specific operations. Now, within the policy, it is required that all of the departments submit that to the Chief Financial Officer for review and approval. We have also added a decision tree. The decision tree can be found on page 19. What this does is allow the user to, through the decision-making process, it helps them simplify decisions with simplified division points. The words of caution is this particular tool is only good for supplies, apparatus, and equipment, but it's by far probably the majority of what the departments, usually most departments, will engage in. Something to note in this section that's new, we've raised our purchasing limit from 500 up to 1,000. So now we'll require purchase orders at $1,000.
When you say raise the purchasing limits,
We're raising
whose purchasing limits?
the county's purchasing limit. So prior to this policy, any purchase of items at $500 or more required a purchase order, and now that limit has been raised to 1,000.
Is that would be department heads or manager or who?
The department heads are typically the ones that have the authority to approve the purchases. Any other questions? So here's the one that we have for construction and repair. I guess of note here that's changed. We've updated the policy to better align with our current operational needs and still be able to maintain effective oversight. Since the last policy was created, our previous requirement for quotes on purchases starting at $1,000 has become increasingly impractical. So in this repair, we have now raised, and I'm sorry, this is not, I apologize, this is not the construction and repair. I'm a slide ahead of myself. This is just our general purchase bidding requirements for our purchase thresholds. And so the biggest change here is that prior to this policy, if you bought something for $1,000 up to a certain amount, you had to get 3 quotes. We've now raised that limit to $10,000 because in the current environment, it's just been increasingly difficult and impractical for department heads and for us to be able to secure quotes for those items starting at $1,000. So here's the construction and repair renovation. So there are a couple of things to note here. There's some local policy there where we've added some additional constraints or put some additional parameters around it. You can certainly look at all of these. Our bidding process starts on page 39. You can review the information. And the one thing that I will caution is all the charts and tools that we have in the new policy, all of them do not take the place of the written guidelines that are in there. So we encourage everyone, and when we roll it out, we'll be encouraging everyone to use the charts and the stuff as tools. It's just a resource, but to actually make sure that they are following the actual step-by-step guidance that you find in the policy under the bidding process section. So there are no general statutes that govern the procurement of other professional services, but our service section contract was updated to remain in compliance with federal uniform guidance. Now, all service contracts that are between $10,000 and $50,000, we will require at least 2 quotes or a request for proposal. And those are things where it typically involves the vendor's time and skill rather than we're actually buying an end product. Any questions? So before we get into how we better define our bidding and contract processes, I thought that it would be a good idea for those that don't know or might be newly hearing this to just go over some terminology. The bid is the initial offer to perform a task at a specified price, while the contract is the formal agreement that sets the terms for the performance of the task. Responsive means that the bid met all applicable legal requirements and substantially conforms to the bid specifications, while responsible means the bidder has the necessary skill, judgment, and integrity to perform the task at hand. Our new policy introduces specific contract types based on service nature and fiscal implications. A new dispute resolution section has been added. It mandates mediation for contract disputes over $10,000, ensuring fair and timely resolution. The process includes shared costs and the option for further legal action if needed. In both the bids and contracts, the evaluation process ensures that the lowest responsive and responsible bid is selected, considering factors like quality, performance, and compliance with specifications. For both formal and informal contracts, there are clear approval processes involving various county officials and in some cases, you as the county commissioners. We have put these things in place to ensure that we have transparency and accountability. We've simplified our surplus processes by now allowing the county manager to, or authorizing the county manager to declare items as surplus with a value under $30,000. This change aims to streamline the processes and ensure timely management of surplus items. Board of Commissioners approval is still needed with items with a value above $30,000. Additionally, we've defined disposal methods in line with North Carolina General Statute 168 to ensure legal compliance. For more details about changes in the surplus processes, please refer to page 49 in the fiscal policy. So we're enhancing our grant guidelines by improving the application process with thorough reviews, implementing a tiered approval system based on grant size and impact. Oh, too many. We're setting clear guidelines for managing changes, strengthening coordination with the finance department to ensure reporting and accurate oversight. So those are just some of the highlighted changes that we thought are the biggest changes from the policy that we had in place that we thought we'd like to share with you. I've listed all the contact information for our finance team. If you have any questions or comments, of course, I'm always available whenever you need me. But if it's a specific area and you need one of the staff members, their contact information can be found here. If you have any questions, I'm happy to entertain them.
Any questions?
I just had a comment with our fire departments here. I know that state has started giving money directly to those entities, so it would be probably prudent of them to make reference of those procurement that's already defined by the county and probably adopt that for your own fire department policies.
Any other questions or comments? Now, when the auditor comes, we saying we know. Is there a motion to approve? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the vote saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? They are approved. Thank you so much. Next one, Senator.
Item E is regarding the CDBG Neighborhood Revitalization Program. At your May meeting, you approved the acceptance of $950,000 from the North Carolina Department of Commerce in the Community Development Block Grant Neighborhood Revitalization Program. This program provides funding for the renovation and replacement of substandard housing for low to moderate income families. Enclosed for your consideration is the project budget ordinance for this grant. I recommend that you approve the budget ordinance as presented.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Now, look on the back of your agenda before you, that's where we will be. Appointments. I'm recommending, that's from District 3, Carlton Austin for the County Planning Board. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye. Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, he is appointed. C.D. Howard is recommended for Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved.
Mr. Chairman, could I here make some clarification regarding a previous appointment that the board made? At your last meeting, you appointed Ms. Tyronda Whitaker to the Nash Edgecombe Wilson Community Action Agency. And what we found out in clarification is that on that board, they have basically three sections of their board. One section is for appointments directly from the board, each of the three boards of commissioners. So we have two. Those are already filled. Then there are representatives from private sector. And then third is representatives who are either low income or represent low income interests. So what we found is that for Edgecombe, there's not currently a vacancy for the direct appointment that you made. So if there's consensus of the board, what we will do then is take that action for Ms. Whitaker and submit that as a recommendation. I believe based on her position with Upper Coastal Plain Council of Government, she could serve either as a private representative or as a representative for a low-income community. So just want to make that clarification.
How should we do that motion? She's already appointed now. Is it something we need to
No.
undo?
Right. I would just say as long as there's consensus that the board understands that that will be a recommendation or a nomination instead of an actual direct appointment.
Will be any objections for it being a consensus? Hearing none, that is the case.
All right, thank you.
Contracts for review and approval, is there anything to be brought to the board's attention?
No, sir, you have those two contracts there. We do have a third one that I would like for you to consider adding. You have a copy of it there at your seat. Is from Sheriff's Office for Kimball's food software package. We do have Captain Washington that is here, who's going to explain a little bit about how this contract will work, I believe.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you all for your service. Appreciate what you do.
Thank you for the opportunity to present this contract to you. It's basically not a contract, but it's basically, we want to switch over to a new software version with Team 3 with Kimball. We are now under Tech Service, which is a third party who handles our banking system for the inmate commissary. And so what we want to do is basically upgrade our system. Kimball will be taking over, and no extra fees, not costing the county anything. And so we just need for approval from Ms. Linda Barfield on the page where, the banking ACA payment authorization, which they will, for the goods that we get from them for the inmates, they will take that out of the banking system. Also, the other form we need completed is the form, let me get here.
Is it acknowledgement? You got, what is you got?
Where's my pack?
You got a bank verification and you got a acknowledgement.
First one, the facility enrollment package.
The banking system, what? That's it right there.
Verification.
Verification of business account. Okay? And the rest of the forms, we will complete those forms and information onto those forms. And so again, it's not costing any money, it's not extending the contract that we have with Kimball, but it's just switching the software package that we will be using in the banking system. Okay? Any questions?
I guess, what is this motion?
The motion would be to approve the agreement as
Approve the
presented.
agreement as presented?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the agreement is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Mr. Chairman, just to make sure we have it clarified in the record, we do have those other contract amendments there for your consideration, and happy to answer any questions, but recommend that you approve.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Question? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, they are approved. We are scheduled to go up for economic development.
Yes, sir.
Is there, at this time, go ahead.
On this page, did we have the right dates here? Saying fiscal year begins July 1, 2023 and ends June 30th, 24.
For which one are you talking
For what we just approved?
It's the back page.
to? Oh, that's referring to the original contract, so we are amending the original contract. Yes, we are. Good question. Thank you for that.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're scheduled to go into a closed session to discuss economic development. Is there a motion?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, we'll be going into closed session. Thank you.
Laying on my leg.
Trying to rub your leg.
And he said it out loud.
I don't
You
know
know,
about
if I
it.
would
That's a lot of zeros.
One B.
Start with the B now, it's not in the conversation.
1.2B.
Not worth
So, I want to see that.
A lot of zeros.
At least you write it better than 2 Corinthians.
Back on?
Huh? We live. Is there anything to come in open session?
I'd just like to let the board know that you'll remember us talking about working with the community college. We created the Edgecombe Works Office Academy program, training program. We had 20 staff members that went through that. They finished on June 4th. And we, especially since it's the first round, we've done that. We'd like to recognize them. So we'd like to invite them and you to come and have dinner before your meeting on Monday in the auditorium at 5 o'clock. And then we'll have them to come to the meeting at 6, and Dr. McLeod will be here to present their certificates at that meeting, if that's okay with y'all.
Any
When
objections?
is that?
Monday,
Monday's our regular scheduled meeting.
yes, sir.
We be,
5 o'clock?
We'll eat at 5 o'clock, yes, sir.
We won't have the days mixed
Can I
up.
call you at 5
Sir.
o'clock?
We won't have the days mixed up with.
I'm trying my best not to.
anything else come? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So-
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by vote sign aye.